All right, good afternoon. Happy, I don't know where you are in the world, but hopefully it's sunny and shining where you are, so that we can enjoy being inside looking at a webinar. So welcome to 2023 Business Planning. During today's webinar, obviously this is only a 1-hour webinar. We can actually, like this topic, literally we could spend days on this, and I have. So I'm going to try and squeeze in like a serious little cluster of activities that you can do to kind of focus in on exactly what you need to pay attention to in the next year. And as you might have guessed, and why you're all here today is because we don't do business planning in January. like a lot of people do planning workshops in January. It's like if you're planning in January, you're like a month too late at least. So we do planning basically in November. And the reason we do annual planning in November for a calendar year, like say January to December, just makes it super easy to clock over. It makes it nice and clean, just like we do. When we meet someone, we say, we'll meet you there at 10 a.m. We don't say we'll meet you there at 10:17. Like, who does that? So starting your calendar year on January 1st to really have some gusto and just get straight into it is the smart thing to do to help clock it over. But in saying that, sometimes we have to start our planning. Really, you do it before that time. So we're doing it in November because this gives you still a few weeks before people like totally switch off. So that if there is anybody you need to call, anything you need to action, anything you need to organize in preparation for January, you've still got a little time up your sleeve to do it. Okay. Plus, planning does take time. So I'm going to be super, super clear with you that what we're going to go through today is going to be like at breakneck speed. So please, I'm going to remind you that follow along as much as you can today. If you want to have me on your phone next to you and then you got your laptop to like power away, that's a great way that I like to do things, so that you can, or if you've got two screens, work on one screen, watch on the other. But I'm just going to firmly remind you that this is being recorded. Okay, I have actually hit record and you are going to get the recording. Okay, so the great thing about watching things on recording is you can pause. Okay. So, but if I am going a little bit fast or you don't understand things, I'm just going to say again, please put it in the Q&A if you have a specific question to clarify anything. But if you just want to share what you're doing and how you're doing it and what business you're in and things like that, do jump in the chat and say hello and say, hi, I'm a vet from, whatever, and this is the business I do and stuff, because if we were in a real live room, you'd be networking, right? This is all part of it. So as we go, I'd love you guys to jump in the chat and share that as well. Okay, so let's just jump in and get started. And like I said, not everything's in the slides today, so I'm going to transition to like a Word document, which is like a face-to-face workshop document I use later on. Very, very quick about me. My name is Rhonwyn Lerner. That really is my last name, and I'm a trainer by trade. I run a number of businesses. I've been working with startups especially, but in the small business space for about 17 years now. I had to change that number this morning. But I know what you mean. I don't look old enough. I'll take that. But I love business. I love everything about business. I also love everything about property. In fact, I think got some new property books behind me, so just dumped on my bench. And I'm a bit of a geek, right? So lately my focus has been very much back to strategy and planning. I'm having a lot of organizations come to me for that in the last few months. And but I also my next project, and the one I'm really focusing on, is cybersecurity. So just a tip, if you're watching the recording, it might have already happened, but this weekend is Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. So just be aware, there's going to be heaps and heaps of scams on the rise, wanting to get into your business programs, but also and sometimes pretending to be you for customers. It's a little bit of a, what can I say? It's you got to be really aware of what's happening in the world today, especially with cyber and cyber criminals, with running a business, because you digitize everything. So going digital, and the Digital Solutions Program, which I'm part of, and this is part of, is such an amazing way to get more digital, but it comes with, the added responsibility of protecting that as well. All right. So if you want to know anything more about me, head to my website, businessintraining.com.au. Otherwise, you can email me info@ businessintraining.com.au for any questions you like after this, no problem. This is a safe space. There's no such thing as a silly question, stupid question, whatever. Feel free to ask me the same thing 50 million times. I do not grow weary of that. Totally fine. All right, so let's jump into business planning. So first of all, I'm just going to take a minute to explain what a business plan is, because some of you may have never done it before. And I'm going to be really clear, we're not going to map out a whole business plan today. So usually a business plan in its formal sense would be a lovely document, a very traditional document that has many components to cover everything you need in building a business. And I do make fun of it, but in all seriousness, if you haven't made a proper business plan yet with a template, I'd highly encourage you to do it. Using a template business plan, like you will find on business.gov.au, or I'm in Queensland and I really like the state government one as well, which is at business.qld.gov.au. And if you follow that pattern, you'll find one in your state or territory. They usually have a template you can access. I do like the federal government one at business.gov.au quite a lot. It's got good guidance in it. And the main components of a business plan are like, what is your business made up of? How much money you got? Who's running it? What products and services? Have you actually checked your marketplace and your competitors? Is this a good option for you to sell? Do people actually want to buy it? What's your marketing strategy? How are you going to do this? So it's, but also the really boring stuff, legals, cash flows, budgets, insurance, right? So it's going to encourage you and trigger you to look at those things too. And I say boring because a lot of people love to create and have a beautiful business concept, and we sort of look at the administration side of a business as a little bit boring, but it can't be further from the truth. Like once you get to know your numbers and how it works and what you're protecting and making sure you're really in control of your asset protection and all, protecting your assets, like it makes you feel so empowered as a business owner. So if you haven't done that stuff yet, do it. But I'm going to say that in a small business, the point of a business plan is really to guide your decision making. Okay. So if you do a business plan, put it on a shelf and forget about it, well, what was the point of that? If it puts it fresh in your mind, great. If the only thing you draw from it that you keep fresh in your mind every day is your vision, your mission, and your goals, then that's at least a really hardcore base to keep and be mindful of as you consider your business. But reality is that it helps you point your business in the one direction, so that when opportunities present themselves, as they will when you get, grow and get better and bigger and people get to know you and they're like, oh, I'd love to give you business and clients or whatever. But also, people will bring opportunities to you. And I have this all the time. And I don't say that with ego. I mean, just generally, I'm out and about a lot. I meet a lot of different people, a lot of different businesses in my line of work. And people will put opportunities in front of me. And, early on in my business, I'd be like, yes. And then I realize, well, I can't manage all of that, far too hard. And I still struggle sometimes. But when you have a really fine-tuned business plan, you kind of know what direction you're heading in. It's so easy to go, you know what? Thank you so much for offering that to me, or inviting me to do that, or asking me about that, or, that offer of collaboration or whatever. But it's just not in my scope, right? And you just say, thank you very much, but no, thank you. Because what'll happen is when you get drawn away from your core plan, and you diverge and divert, you lose track and you lose momentum, and you start to go from a honed path into a spider web. So this is what the business plan is really good for. And I'm going to say that there's a few different plans that we have. So the business plan specifically is really details what I said, which is, what are your resources? What's your purpose? What are you doing here? And then also to schedule and budget how you're going to do it, right? From there, we actually can break it down further into a strategic plan, which is really what becomes the annual plan. So once you have your original business plan, the strategic plan is the spin-off that really helps you clarify, again, vision. mission, values, goals, situation analysis, and then what are the possible strategies that we can do to make that happen. So to clarify, if you don't know what anything is that I just mentioned because you're new to this, totally fine. A vision, and people get this mixed up all the time, a vision is like the end game. So for example, if you're if you're running a market stall selling, I don't know, Japanese crepes or something, and ice for Eskimos, whatever it is, and that's your first stage of your business, your vision might be like, I want to have 20 food trucks that go to every festival that run gourmet Japanese food, right? That might be the vision. So your vision certainly is something that is attainable and you're going to get there. Yeah. Years ago, we used to say it's inspirational and unattainable, and I never understood that. So it definitely should be something you're shooting for, because if you know where you're headed, everything else can fall into place a lot more easily. So we are going to do a vision exercise today. Mission is a statement you create, should be short and memorable. Throw it on the wall beside you if you need. But it's a mission statement is like a daily active statement on how you implement, like how you work your business toward your mission, right? So a mission usually is who we are, who we serve, what we produce to serve them, and to what level of quality we do it, right? So it might be like Toyota's is probably something along the lines of, we every day we work towards being the #1 car manufacturer in X country, producing quality, innovative cars to everyday families, right? That's a mission statement, which is different to a vision, which might be to be the #1 car manufacturer in the world with zero, incident safety, whatever, blah, 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 right? Values is completely different again, but sits in with all of this. So values is where and we're going to do a values exercise in a minute. So values is like, how you're led by your inner self. Sounds very woo-woo, but for example, if your business, maybe you run a recruitment business, it's very fast paced, you do temp recruitment, you're on call 24/7, maybe real estate sales, something like that, where it's like go, go, go. So one of your values for your business might be work hard, play hard. It might be all about being on the game all the time, but when you switch off, you all switch off together and have a great time and really, live life to the fullest, right? That could be a value, which would be very different to say a massage parlor that's like, no, inner calm is the center of everything we do, right? So values differ from person to person to person. And as a business owner, you absolutely bring those values into your whole business. And that's where you can have a lot of friction with staff and partners and clients because the values don't match up. So knowing what values you follow is really important, actually. Goals, you've all heard of goals. The only difference with goals is that you just make it, there's some questions you've got to ask with your goals. So we're going to do some of those. And a SWOT, SWOT, is a situational analysis. We'll explain, I'll go through that later as well. So as you can see from the strategic plan, that's a lot of the activities we're going to do today very, very quickly. Times are ticking. Marketing and sales plan takes that strategic plan and goes, right, if these are the things we're going to execute this year, as in do, what are the marketing, how does marketing fit into that in terms of what sort of clients, what are we selling? What sort of clients are we hoping to attract? And how do we communicate that to those potential clients to get the leads and get the sales and things like that? And sales always should go in with marketing. Some people do a marketing plan without any real tangible, measurable actions or tasks that go to closing the sales and getting them as a client. So make sure if you do a marketing plan, put sales in with that. And then operational plan, which is like breaking everything down and going, right, how do we run this sucker day to day? And then a workforce plan is where you sort of look at everything above that and go, right, who do we need? And I know a lot of you are struggling with basically the workforce plan, like getting skilled employees. And what I'll say to you is, look, the future is that we're just going to have to do a lot more training, trainees, apprentices, training programs. We're going to have to develop industry-wide training programs that help unskilled workers transition into skilled work, because there's a bit of a disconnect there. But I know that that doesn't help you solve that today. So just being mindful that understanding what roles you need in your business as key critical roles, and always having a backup plan for if that person leaves, what do you do? Super important. Okay, so we're going to focus around the area of business and strategic plan, but certainly I think we're going to do another one on marketing soon anyway. Okay, so types of business plan. We've got formal, so that's the standard one I said before. Informal, where you might just draft a shortened version, like a 5-page or a 2-pager. Model one is where you actually plan as a diagram. So you might just do a mind map and go, this goes here, goes here, goes here, goes here, and this is what we're doing. If you're a real visual person, I'd really suggest trying like a diagram layout, or like a schedule or a flywheel. So a journal is where you have basically, you take one component of a business plan and you make a 1-pager out of it. And you just go, right, done, 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 done. These are the things I want to focus on. Done. It doesn't matter what people tell you should have in there. What's going to help you focus in every section of your business? Then you've got the flywheel. So a flywheel is basically, you've got your business in the center, and then you have the spokes around it. And I think I'm going to show you one in a minute, which just guides you around the things to focus on. And then we've got the schedule. So you might actually map a timeline of every month and the focus of every month for your business. And then you have a calendar type. So I actually quite like the calendar style business plan. It means that you break everything down into annual, then quarters, then monthly, then weekly, then daily, and you can literally have a whole annual calendar in front of you, month by month, day by day. What am I doing today? It's amazing work. It takes time, but yeah, super, super helpful. All right, so I'm just going to check the chat. Hi, I'm from Darwin, have a small boutique clinic. Hey, Patricia. Brooke, also from Darwin. How are you? Yoga as a therapy. That's great. Jayesh from Perth, started a company, Brasser House. I'm going to tell that wrong. Coffee Roastery and Barista Academy. Ooh, about 6 months ago. Sounds good. Coaching and training and building them up. Nice work. Nerida, also from Darwin. Oh, I don't know what's happening with Darwin, but welcome everybody. Sightseeing, walking tours. Lovely. Jayesh, marketing must be on point. Thank you. Planning for the new year. T Sims, you're in Perth too. Mum and Bub fitness classes and looking to grow into personal training for mums. That's great. Jess from Mandurah, have a small boutique caravan selling a range of handmade ethical women's clothing at markets and festivals. I love that. Saying hello. We've got Ivan from Perth, Ben from Brisbane. Hello, Ben. We know each other. Jeff from Darwin does solar sales. We've got Ben products, again, product sourcing from China, isn't it? So Tracy from Brisbane, online retail shop called dakittycat.com. I love that. dakittycat.com. All right, guys, thanks for sharing your businesses. That's going to go on the YouTube. Well done. All right, let's move on. So when you're doing your business planning, you have to have a core focus. And if you've ever watched any YouTubes from Simon Sinek on Start With Why, it kind of is, it's one of those philosophies that kind of go, oh, that makes so much sense. Why am I not doing that? And it comes back to the idea of, we're talking about values going through every part of your business. There's a reason you have a business, right? You have a purpose. We don't do this, just to, I don't know, because I was bored and I got nothing to do. Like, we do it because we've got a purpose to fulfill in some way or another. Quite often people say, I just want to earn money. It's like, well, that's great, but why do you want to earn more money? It must be like, what do you want to spend the money on? And usually it's more than just living. It's like, well, then I'm going to do this and this and this. Well, then the why is not the money. The money just facilitates everything else. So, but when you look at your business and you review your business, I'd like you to take some time over the next couple of days and look at each of these areas, okay? So thinking about why you run your business, what is the product that you're selling? How do you position yourself in the market? If your why is to serve people and be generous and outstanding and all that kind of stuff, but your price point says budget, well, then you're not really positioning yourself in the right place, right? People don't understand what you're trying to do because your marketing probably says we're super cheap and cheerful, when really you're all about making sure people get the best experience to help them as a human, whatever it is. Which goes into your USP, which is a unique selling point or unique selling position, which is like, okay, so if I lined up you and all your competitors, what makes you different? Yeah, you have to be able to know that. If you don't know what makes you different, do some soul searching in your business and figure it out. And it can be a matter of going back to a competitor analysis where you literally just, you do a Google search of, if yoga therapy in WA, see what comes up. And then look at, okay, each one, what's their product, what's their price, how are they delivering it, what's their marketing messaging, right? What are they pitching themselves as? Line them all up in a spreadsheet or something and go, right, where do I fit in this? How am I different to all of these? And even just doing that one simple exercise can totally supercharge your marketing, because then you'll stop going, we're a great yoga therapy business. I'm sorry to pick on you. You go from we're a great yoga therapy business, or we're your local yoga therapy business, to we are, scientific methodology based yoga therapy, doing breathing exercises to create slower heart rates and better inner health for people with XYZ, right? I'm making stuff up. So you will know your business better than mine. But it also comes back to the value you provide. So the word value there is, what value do you provide as part of that unique experience? So, what gets them over the hump to go with you rather than your competitors? Not just being different grabs attention, the value gets the sale. Connect with customers. So how do you connect with customers? Where do you connect with customers? Are you making it very authentic and personal and modern? Or are you just slapping out, social posts with tips and nobody knows who you are? Okay, you have to connect. They say that connection is the number one thing that makes people a happy life. There's a huge longitudinal study on it. And it's not love, it's just connection and things like that. So people want connection in this modern world where we are online all the time. Okay. So, for instance, if you couldn't see my face right now, it wouldn't be the same, right? But just having that little video square that's like, hello, I'm Rhonwyn. You can see I'm a real person and what I'm doing, right? Then the sales process and the follow-up. So have a look at, whenever you reevaluate your year to come, go back to all those different things in your business in planning and go, do any of these need attention? Are any of these not working? Okay, very, very important. Okay, before we start planning anything else, obviously you're doing planning because you're hoping to grow. Okay, nobody comes into one of these planning sessions thinking, I'd just like to do the same thing again this year. You're obviously looking to do some planning because you want something to change. But I'm going to give you some sage advice. Before you start turning on the tap and upping your effort and making your business go crazy, please focus on your own personal balance. If you turn everything up, turn everything on, and open the floodgate, what can happen is you can be absolutely overwhelmed in terms of your time and effort in the business, and your whole life and personal nature can get out of balance. So I really like the 5 Fs: family, friends, faith, finance, fitness. They will be different for all of you. Every category will be different for all of you. Faith obviously can be anything you want it to be, but something that centers you and reminds you of there's a bigger picture in life. It doesn't matter what that is, but something that centers you in that way. And spend time writing down for each of these 5 categories, how are you going to safeguard it to make sure it doesn't get thrown completely out of balance and off your list for 2023 because you're so busy. And secondly, if there's anything here you want to improve, right? So, I notice this as I get older, friends start to distance, they go overseas, they move, they get busy, they have children, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you want to make a concerted effort to reconnect with old friends, right? Put it on your list for 2023. Don't ignore it. And it's more about making smart choices in your business, not and being really targeted in what you do. So planning is where this comes in. You're going to focus on just what you need to do to grow your business, not everything you need to do to grow your business. I hope that makes sense. All right, values. This is a great little list of values, core values. So when you look at this list, some of them you're not really going to know what they mean, but maybe they mean something to you. Just because you don't connect with a word here immediately could just mean you don't fully understand the meaning of it. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, I fully encourage you and work through this list. I don't know how many are on there, maybe like 5, 10, 15, maybe like 80 words. For example, authenticity. It's one thing to be told to be authentic in what you do, but the reality is if you don't value that, if you're like, no, I don't have faith in myself at this point and I don't want to expose my vulnerabilities and everything I do, well, then authenticity is not a top value for you. So don't put it on your list just because someone says you should. It will cause a friction and a disconnect in what you're doing in your business, okay? So I would suggest you want to do 3 little lists and see if they marry up. You want to do you can do your top 3 or top 5, depending on how focused you are. 5 is good. I would not go over 5. If you're going over 5, it just means you're being a little bit indecisive. And how you decide is you put two side by side and go, right. So say we're doing beauty and knowledge, right? If you put beauty and knowledge side by side and go, I actually really value beauty in things because maybe you're an artist or a photographer or something, but I also value like knowing really what I do best. If you had to make a choice of an action compared to, say, someone's asked you to have a one-to-one meeting and you're like, I really value beauty. I want to make sure I present really well in my one-to-one. Or actually, I may not have time for that. I'd rather brush up on the content I'm about to share with them to make sure my knowledge is solid. What do you choose? Okay, so knowing what you value the top is all about, if you came down to a triage system of you had to pick one over the other, which one wins? So family, I know family is actually not on there, but anyway, family is a core value for a lot of people. But I find people tend to put family on there because they feel like they should, because societal norms and pressures say that they should. But if you would rather go to work than spend time with family, then chances are family is not actually at the top of your value list. So you just have to be really honest when you do this activity, because if you're not honest with yourself, again, going to have disconnect and everything's going to kind of have friction. Okay. So you want a list for you, top 5 for you. What are your top 5 values for you personally? Then when you look at your business and how you run your business, which could be a little bit different, right, depending on what you do for business, you might have a slightly different list of 5, okay? Then again, have a look at your clients, empathize with your client's position and try and get into the mind and walk a mile in their shoes and go, right, for my most common client, my most popular client, the ones I love to work with, definitely the ones I want to work with, what do I think they value the most? And the way you kind of understand this best is the kinds of questions they ask you, right? So if you're constantly getting asked about price, chances are like finances is a value to them. They value, their economies. If it's about, wanting to connect with you face to face. So quite often I'll have people who really want to meet face to face. They don't really feel comfortable with Zoom. And that tells me that connection is probably a really high value, or community, or would be probably like relationship or something, right? So look for the words that really resonate with you and put them on a list. And what you're looking for is to see if any of them match up and cross over. And just remember that as you're planning and making decisions, that you really want to focus on those core values in producing products, producing services, making a customer experience, right? Because if you make a customer experience that's all for people who work hard, play hard, but none of those, but your clients don't value that stuff, it's going to be crickets. Okay, put that to one side for now. You can come back to it. Remember, it's recorded. And we're going to do a little bit of an activity. Okay, so if you have a piece of paper and a pen, feel free to do it. But for now, you can just do the activity of imagining it, and then have that in your mind as we move forward with the next activities, okay? So when you think about your vision for your business, there's the vision that we create as a statement, vision statement, and then there's the vision that's like almost like doing a vision board. So a collection of really imagining yourself in the business in 3 to 5 years' time. It's an activity to leap your brain forward, because sometimes I think when we can use our imagination to really envisage what it's going to look, feel, taste, smell like, it helps our brain, our automatic brain, connect with what we're going to do, right? Helps us, again, make our choices better, have a better, gut feel for what's the right thing to do. So I want you to just take a breath wherever you are. Just put down your pen and paper, put down your phone, pause the Netflix in the background, and I want you to close your eyes, okay? I know in a room you have to, because I'm looking at you in Zoom. I'm just going to trust. Close your eyes, and I want you to just listen to what I'm going to say, okay? Right now, you're in whatever situation, whatever stage in your business you are, it doesn't matter. I want you to think forward to either 3 or 5 years' time, whatever's a comfortable space for you. And I want you to imagine that you've kind of arrived. Whatever you're working on building in your business, like what you're creating through your business, you've arrived at that destination. Your business is there. It's 3 years ahead or 5 years ahead or 4 years ahead, whatever it is. And I want you to imagine you're about to start your typical day, okay? You wake up in the morning, you stretch, you feel amazing, you've had a great night's sleep because, everything's working like clockwork by this point, even if you're still going to have hurdles and humps and, challenges. You wake up and you do your morning routine. So that might be some music and a workout, or, a cup of tea on the deck in the sunrise, or really, really super strong coffee, right? Whatever it is, you're running through your morning routine and you're thinking about your day ahead. And you're going to think about what your typical day looks like. So you go to, you bring up your schedule for the day, and you go, right, what have I got on the docket for today? Who are the and who's in my calendar? Who are the clients I'm serving? Who are the staff I'm going to see? Who's working with me? What tasks do I have to do today as my best version of myself in my business? Like, what role do I actually take in my business at this point? So what does that business look like? What are the products and services you're selling by now? Where are you in the world? Who's your main client that you're serving that is both so nice to deal with and so appreciative of what you do, and also, quite a profitable product or service, or whatever it is that satisfies the achievement of your business and what that looks like? Who's in your team? Who's the great group of people around you that help you do this? Because I can tell you right now, you're not going to get there all by yourself. So what do you imagine is the team that surrounds you to help you actually create this ideal business? And then finally, you put down your schedule and you go into your accounts and you look at your bank balance. How much money is in the bank and how much are you turning over every month or every week or every year? Like, what does that number look like? Is it $200,000? Is it $1 million? Is it 10 million? Like, what to you is a number that grants you your idea of success in this business for whatever it is you're going to use that money for. So whether it's just to feel like you've succeeded, or whether it's because you're going to reinvest that money into something or give it away, or whatever it is, there's no judgment here. If you want to keep $1 million in the bank, do it. Okay, so think about that typical day and think about it unfolding, and really just imagine you're there. What are the sounds around you? What are the things around you? What do you see? What do you feel? Who are you talking to? Okay. I want you to take a deep breath. When I count to 3, I want you to open your eyes and really keep that vision in your mind as we go forward, okay? 1, 2, 3, open your eyes. Okay, now ideally you take a few minutes to write that down. If you want to write it down and come back into the activities later, feel free. Otherwise, we're going to keep going. And remember, you can come back to this recording and do it again. But usually the vision would be the same, or it's going to be really, really similar. So don't be fearful that you're going to lose that vision. Okay, it's there. All right. From that vision, I want you to think about, to get there, what are the main things you need to achieve? Okay. And if we're going forward just in the next calendar year, what is the most important thing you need to achieve? Okay. So something that fits with you, your business, the direction you want to take it. If you could do just one thing in the next year to help you to on that trajectory, what is it going to be? Now, some people call this the big ass hairy goal or big hairy ass goal. I always get that mixed up, but it's the bug. I prefer the WIG, the wildly important goal. Either way, it doesn't matter. The whole purpose of nicknaming it something kind of amusing is to remind you that it doesn't matter whatever else happens in the year, you have to keep this goal front and center, okay? Because you are going to decide that this is the one goal that's going to get you there, okay? Now, it could be a financial goal. It could be really, really simple. You might be like, you know what? At the moment, I'm just starting out. I only earned like 50 grand in my business last year. I really want to hit the 100K mark this year, which basically means I need to double what I did last year, and I don't know how to do that. Totally fine. But make that your number one goal. So whatever you do, stop offering free stuff, right? Stop giving away your paid time for free if that's what you're doing. Stop working on really, really tiny products and services that will never get you there. Like I find this a lot with people who are authors and things like this, create these amazing works of art, amazing rights of fiction or something, but you're earning $10 a book, $5 a book, $50 a painting, whatever it might be. How many books are you going to have to sell to make $1 million? You're going to have to sell like 100,000 books. How likely is that going to happen? So sometimes to meet your financial goal, for example, we have to be more strategic. We have to consider what different paths we can use to hit that goal, okay? Your wildly important goal could be based on people. You could say, you know what? I know how this business is going to grow. And for every talented, skilled person I have in my business, that equals another $100,000 or $200,000 in income because of the capacity to serve, right? Or it could be for every salesperson I bring on, that's another $1 million in revenue, $500,000 in revenue, because of the ripple effect and the natural domino flow effect of having that extra person, what that equates to extra clients, extra business, extra production, whatever it might be. So your wildly important goal might be, I'm going to grow from me to 5 staff over the next year. And which would break down into, right, I'm going to have to hire, I might have to go to the local university and look at one of their workplace, what's it called? The placement programs. I'll come back to that. So most universities have like a accredited placement program. So it's kind of like work experience, right? But work experience is a tricky field in Australia because Fair Work governs some very strict laws to make sure you're not taking advantage of people and just having free workers where there should be a paid worker. So going to a university and saying, hey, we're doing this project. I want to have a whole marketing strategy. What marketing students do you have that can work on this project for 10 weeks for free? And I sign off and give them credit for their course, okay? So those industry placement programs are super important tools for jump-starting staff and things like that. The other way to take on some initial staff to help boost your business to get to the next stage is virtual staff, all right? So I am a huge advocate for hiring locally, but I have to acknowledge that when you're a one-person band, you basically have to double your own income in order to take on a staff member. It's just not realistic, right? How do you double your output to bring on someone, right? Very, very hard to do that. So as a baby step, as an interim step, you might look at hiring a virtual assistant in Philippines, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, wherever they're from, where the conversion rate between our standard minimum annual salary and their standard minimum annual salary because of the currency conversion is super different, right? So in the Philippines, it's maybe $4 to $6 an hour, maybe up to $8. In India, it's probably less. So, finding that right match who can just be like, okay, I'm going to organize your calendar. I'm going to do your marketing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do sales calls, whatever they do for you that will help get you to the next stage, because you might be taking half of your weekly administration marketing list and giving it to someone else at an affordable rate so that you can grow your business to the next level and bring on local staff. See where I'm going with this? So your wildly important goal is, what is the benchmark you want to get to, or what is the main thing you want to achieve in the next year? Another version might be, maybe you're a big business and you have a messy staff base. So your big important goal might be to, do a whole workforce plan, culture plan, succession plan. If you have a bunch of staff, I imagine you know what those things are, so I'm not going to explain them. But that might be your goal, okay? So the only other things with goals is you have to remember, put a deadline on it, okay? Like, can you actually achieve it in the next year? What resources do you have to actually achieve it, right? So don't make it so that, oh, it's going to cost me $100,000 to get this person to do this. I don't have $100,000, okay? Is the goal relevant to my overall plan for my vision, everything? And it's going out. And again, your challenges. So what would stop you from achieving that? So if you have health problems, family challenges, whatever, don't set yourself a goal that is the same goal you've set for 5 years in a row and think that this year it's going to make the difference. Okay, set a goal that's achievable, because it's much better to make smaller steps year on year and continue to sustainably grow your business than it is to make some massive unachievable goal and you're just giving yourself a hard time every December, okay? Then we need to look at, okay, so based on what we want to do, what's our current situation? I have a feeling we're going to go a little bit over time today, and I think I'm just going to go over time with your permission, but if you have to cut out right on the hour, please do so and come back and watch the recording, okay? I think I'd rather get through all this stuff and so you have every action you need than we cut it short. So situational analysis, or the SWOT analysis. Some of you might have done a SWOT before. I find that a lot of people phenomenally don't do it right. And I know I'm saying that from my perspective, grant you, I hear those words. But the reason I say we don't do it right is because if I do it with some groups, when I get to weaknesses, people start to like spiral out of control going, I'm no good at this and I'm never going to run a business. Okay, this is not the point of this exercise. Please keep focus. This is about your business, not necessarily you as a human. Okay, and it's really important to understand that we're not here to fix everything. This is not the purpose of this either. What we really want to identify is strengths and weaknesses. Okay, we're going to write a bullet point list. Make yourself a table like this. Make yourself a bullet point list. What are your strengths? Okay, what are you super good at in your business? Like, what is your business super good at, I should say? So if you get awesome feedback from your customers, that's a massive strength. That means you're doing something right. What is it that you're doing right? Do you have really good communication skills, which is probably 90% of most things? Do you have a really clear sales process, journey, deliverables, right? Do you have a wonderfully unique selling proposition, so that, or point of difference, that means that people absolutely love that you provide what you do because they just can't get it anywhere else? Okay, so what is your strengths? You can go as far as skill sets. So if you want to look at skill sets to identify that, for instance, if you said that you were going to bring, your wildly important goal was to bring on a completely new service. So maybe you're a mortgage broker and you want to deal with car finance this year, or maybe you write business plans for people and now you want to get into like, or maybe do marketing plans, you want to start building websites, I don't know, something like that. It probably is a skill and knowledge gap. So identifying where those gaps are, what you're really strong at and what you're going to need to improve as part of your weaknesses is still relevant and important. So the idea here is to thinking about that wildly important goal. What's your starting point? What strengths and resources do you have to do it? And where are the gaps in your weaknesses? So for instance, if you say, I want to double my income, but the weakness is I'm at capacity, then that identifies, you can put that over in actionable insights and go, I'm going to have to hire someone. I'm going to have to look at different ways to hire someone as part of my strategic plan to go, what strategy is going to actually overcome this challenge so that I can make my wildly important goal. Okay. Everyone's networking in the back end. I love that. Okay, so opportunities. Opportunities is what's happening in the marketplace. So I'm going to, and threats as well, what's happening in the marketplace, the industry, the economy, politics, the world, I don't know, war, things like that, price of fuel. So it's really important to note that this is where you put this stuff in. To clarify the difference, if something is within your control, that's internal. If something is completely outside your control, that's external, right? So that's opportunities and threats. So I want to make sure you guys note down things like there is some talk of a recession. Now, all that means is that because post-pandemic and traditionally over hundreds of years, it's statistically how it's gone, historically how it's gone, we have this massive dive from a plague or a pandemic or something, and then suddenly people on the back end of that, everything shoots up. Everybody has children, grows businesses, buys houses, moves, right? There's this massive jump in the economy. And so obviously when you balloon things out like that, you have a bit of a fallback, a little bit of a drop back. So I don't think a recession is anything to worry about. It just means that we have to correct a little bit of the massive, the fast jump we've had in a lot of our economy, okay? Some of the more worrying threats are probably going to be around fuel supply. We have a new government, so it doesn't matter whether you're for or against the new government. That's going to be some changes to some industry regulations. Possibly cybersecurity is going to become mandated for small business over the next couple of years. And they've changed some classifications around that. Cyber crime has increased, so that's a threat. So you have to make sure you're on top of that. So there's a bunch of things happening externally to your business that you need to start investigating and being aware of, because they may affect directly or indirectly you achieving your goal for 2023. All right, you don't want to be caught out. Okay, guys, just going to remind you that, yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm not going to bring up the chat again, just in case there's anything in there. Trends within my business or industry. So if you know that everybody is digitizing or they're all automating stuff. So for instance, a trend in hospitality is table ordering QR codes. So if you are a hospitality business, like a cafe or restaurant, you're having trouble getting staff, that is the logical next step, is to automate the ordering process so you are not overburdening your staff with running around from table to table all the time. You're going to have customers who don't like it. That's fine. Still take their order, but you got to know what is manageable. Once you do your SWOT and you do your industry trends, then we are going to, just going to go into Word now. We're going to break it down. I'm just going to come over to Word because this is actually the activity sheet we use for the live workshop, and I'm going to go from here. So we're going to break it down into objectives. So usually you have goals and objectives, and I think it's important to know the situation and beforehand, because if you say how are you going to reach that goal? Well, if you put in unrealistic objectives or they're off kilter or whatever because they're just not going to work because you didn't check your market, then there's kind of no point. So what I'd say to you is break down your annual goal into 4. And the reason I say 4 is because we tend to work the year in quarters. If you want to do like 3 or 6 or some other number, fine. I'm not going to stop you. It's totally your business. But I find that clocking over in quarters like January, February, March, April, May, June, etc., is a great way to track yourself. And I'd say that the way to break down your goal into 4 parts or 4 actionable objectives is by this. My first suggestion is think about 4 different ways to reach that goal, right? So if you said that I want to make sure that I recession-proof my business, well, this is a perfect example. You're going to, every quarter, you might build up another income stream for your business, right? So for example, I'm in training and coaching. So every quarter I might be developing a new online course, and then I might be creating a service to do strategic planning for customers. And then I might be, I'm going to build websites. And then I might, you know what I mean? Like by doing different ways of earning income in our business, so we're not reliant on the same customer buying the same thing from the same place, right? That's not a recession-proof business. That's not a COVID-safe business. It's not an any-safe business, because if the bottom of that falls out, you got no fallback, okay? So this should be on your hit list for everybody to think about diversifying the way you earn income in your business, okay? So you might choose every quarter to build up a different way to reach that goal of increased income. Otherwise, your goal might be, well, that's a pretty meaty goal, so I'm going to break it down into a 4-step sequence. So you're going to have the first phase, which is like, okay, I'm going to, so say you wanted to develop online courses, right, as a passive income source for your business, because you do, I don't know, some sort of advisory or, something like that. You might be like, right, in the first quarter, I'm planning it out, I'm developing content, and I'm building up my social media. The second one is focusing on some sort of launch funnel and building up your sales process. Then the third quarter might be actually, launching the course. And then the fourth quarter might be doing the follow-up and the advocacy and affiliate program or whatever it is to bring people back into the loop again and start again the next year. So you could step out 4 different sequences toward the goal. Or another way is to up the level of output, right? So if you say, I'm just going to increase my income, then, by doing, say you want to go from $100,000 income to $200,000 income next year, okay? Or, revenue for the business. It's not actually, it doesn't usually work how you think. Logically, you'd think, okay, that's easy. I'm going to do 25K more in the first quarter, then another extra 25 in the second, another extra. It doesn't work like that. It usually goes up in a bit of like an exponential kind of slope where you'll earn most of that in the last section or the second last section. So you might be like, right, in the first one, I'm going to provide an upsell for all my existing customers. And that's going to get me another 30 grand in the business, or sorry, another 5 or 10 grand in the business. And then in the second quarter, I'm going to run a referral program, and that's going to bring in some, additional leads, which is going to lead to another 20K. And then I'm going to increase my pricing, which is going to do this, and then, and then that. Or it might be that you're like, okay, levels might be more along the line of, I think that's more steps. So levels might be more along the lines of, I'm going to, I probably deal with 3 clients a week. So in the first quarter, I'm going to up it to 5 clients a week. And then second quarter, I'm going to bring on another staff member. And then I'm going to up it to 10 clients a week. And then, 20, and then whatever, like, so think about the 4 different ways you can break down your week, okay? Then we're doing strategy. So, and maybe you want to do strategy before objectives. It's totally up to you how your brain works. But otherwise, you want to look at that objective or any challenges, and you want to think about, put that description here, okay? Then in the next one, this is where in solution development, it comes into the first round of thinking, and then you go beyond that. I'm trying to not be too wordy here, but concept is, when you have something you want to achieve or a challenge you want to overcome or a goal you want to pursue, we tend to look at our industry or our business type and go, well, what's the logical way to solve this or do this? Or we look at other people in our industry and go, well, they're doing that, maybe I could do the same. And I think that's a great starting point, and you put that in the second column. But beyond that, then you want to look outside your industry and outside your business type, okay? Because the reality is, if you want to just like reach the same as what everyone else is doing, great, follow what they're doing. If you want to make serious change and take a leap in your business and make your goal something quite substantial, then you're going to have to look at solutions outside the norm, Okay, so there's another session sometimes I run on strategic thinking, which is all about how to think laterally and how to do expansive thinking and all this stuff to kind of your brain. Okay, but at the very, very basic thing, you go, right, if my objective, if my objective was booking system for therapy of some kind. Well, there's probably some potential industry standards, like, you know, you might have someone make calls. You might have a calendar. You might have a booking, automated booking. I'm just kind of making this up, so I hope I can think of something else now. Automated booking, link to your CRM, something like that. Okay, so these might be the typical things you look at, right? So something different that's never been done in your industry. Maybe you do like a video booking, right? So maybe they hit your website and use something like Video Ask, or a chatbot, something like that, like ManyChat or AnyChat, something like that. And you go, you know what? We're going to do it video. So you go to my website and I say, hey, do you want to, there's a video of me on my, don't have this now, don't go there. But say it's your website, video of you on your website from Video Ask that says, hey, welcome to the website. I see you want to make a booking. Just click here and tell me when you want to make that booking or what you want to make the booking for. And click, and then they record themselves. Hey, Rhonwyn, or hey, Jessica, hey, Vim, I'd love to make a booking for, get my nails done for Christmas. I'm really looking for something special. I'm going to bring my daughter with me. I hope that's okay. My dog, my horse, whatever, hitch a cart. And yeah, enter and go, great. What day of the week would you like to book that on? Ideally, it would be like Tuesday through Thursday. Click, click, click. Right. So, maybe no one in your industry does that. Maybe you're the first. And what that means is it might just be like super engaging for customers, so that instead of people getting to a calendar and going click, 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 suddenly it's like they're talking to you online. Yeah. But you're not there. So, you just, in terms of strategy development, like you got to think, okay, what's the usual way to solve this? And I just haven't done it yet. Or what's an unusual way to solve this that actually could make or break a little bit of an extra difference to get me to my goal? Okay. We've just hit the hour. So if you have to jet off and get back to your other work duties or your business for the day, I totally understand. Please do so. Otherwise, we're just going to go through the last few activities together. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone who's staying with me. So this is how we might do a bit of a calendar plan. So I said, you remember in the business planning options, there was like journal and a flywheel and things like that. So this is a calendar plan. So just remember, I'm not going to bring up the chat again because I know you guys are doing a lot of networking on the chat. But if you have a specific question about the content, if you can put it in the Q&A and I'll have a look before the end of the session, okay? Or immediately if you put it in the Q&A. So what are we looking at here? If you look at the colored squares, what we're looking at is you're going to put those 4 objectives in. So whether you're going to level it out, stage it out, or put 4 different options to get to your goal, you're going to map out what are you doing in each quarter, okay? So literally quarter 1 objective is January, February, March, okay? And you can see those months below. So if you want to write your goal again at the top, go for, like, if you just, you can screenshot this. It's very, very simple. Okay. And you can recreate this. You can write it on a piece of paper, whatever. So if you want to put your wildly important goal at the top again, just to remind you, and print it out, put it on your desk, all that kind of stuff, I would totally support. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at putting in your objectives, okay, through the quarter 1 to 4. And then underneath, you're then going to put it should have it here, focus. So if you break down that objective, okay, so say we want to do the video chat thing, Okay, and that's our objective for the first quarter, to just get that right and try a new booking system. Then the focus for January might be researching alternatives. Okay, like alternative programs. And then each week it might be an action. So it might be research, then it might be compare, price, features, integrations. Don't get a program unless it talks to all the other programs. Then it might be book demo or watch how-tos. Then it might be final selection. Yeah. Now, theoretically, if you block out a day, you could do that in a day, right? Do you have a whole day to block out to do something like that? Probably not, which means it would never get done. So you're better off breaking it down into every week, an hour a week, 2 hours a week. It's wig time, okay? So Monday morning, 9 a.m. before the ship hits the fan, you're going to come in here and you're going to do your wildly important goal activity. Because I tell you what, in terms of time management, we talk about this in time management program, like modules and stuff. Time management is not about how you block out your time. It's about how you prioritize your time. So if you are constantly doing urgent, that means that literally by the time you get to everything, it is urgent. And I've been through stages like that too, where I've literally got more tasks on my to-do list than I can ever complete. So everything is either urgent or overdue. So, and it's because I'm prioritizing urgency over what's important in my business, right? So when you refocus and you realize that actually it's the super important long-term goal stuff that gets you there in the end, then you go, right, I have to block out time to do this before all the crisis management and urgent client requests and that stuff is due, right? Because at the end of the day, if you keep putting this stuff aside, it'll never happen. And you'll have that feeling that you may have had before where you've set a goal and you haven't achieved it. And the most likely reason you haven't achieved it, it's not because you don't want to, it's just because you're not prioritizing it before everything else. Okay. So my tip to you is prioritize your WIG, your wildly important goal, and break it down like this into tiny, tiny achievable tasks and chunks, and do these tasks before anything else that week. Okay. I realize, some of you, Monday is crisis management. Like that's when all your client requests over the weekend and things have blown up and staff have left and whatever. But the reality is, say you were stuck in traffic for an hour. What happened in that hour? Nothing happened that couldn't have happened. What happened at 10 o'clock? Same thing at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, right? The point is, if you literally steal an hour from your business to get this done, your business will be so much better for it, okay? Then you go down to February, and February might be implementing the program. March might be training in the program and teaching clients in the program and telling clients about the new program, marketing the program, whatever, okay? Objective 2, whatever it is, if you've, so objective was like a new booking system, for example, okay? And then objective 2 would have been, or whatever. So, the whole point is your wildly important goal might be to minimize your time in client follow-up. So the booking system might be one to do it. Then it's going to be like follow-up email sequence. So maybe objective 2, quarter 2, you're going to break down an automated email follow-up so that when someone books with you, then right, they're going to get the reminders. They're going to get the don't forget to bring this and don't forget your payment's due and here's your payment, blah, 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 right? Objective 3, to take yourself out of admin, might be hire a bookkeeper, yeah? Because you haven't yet and you're constantly behind in your paperwork and it's like, look, it's just time, right? So you hire a bookkeeper to follow up all your financials, pay your bills, do all that stuff, square away your finances, make sure your BAS gets done. So literally you've gotten back a day or two a week day or two every month to do that. And it probably took you a day of work to get it done, right? When you are hiring a professional in your business, I will give you this one tip. Go talk to at least 3 different people who do it. Don't just go, oh, Sally uses this bookkeeper, so I'm going to hire them. Okay, what Sally, loves about that bookkeeper might not align with you or might not work for you. So maybe Sally has got a finance background, and the bookkeeper and her almost never talk because they just know what to do, which would be totally wrong for you if you have no clue about bookkeeping. So talk to a few different professionals, and across a few different professionals with conversations about them and how they do, what they charge, what happens when things go wrong, how do you make sure they're actually doing it. So I had one guy that got emails from his bookkeeper for about 6 months that the bookkeeping was just being done. And then he got a letter from the tax office going, why have you not submitted BAS for 3 times in a row? So hiring an external person to help you is great. Hiring the right person makes the difference between great and terrible. So talk to a few, hire the best person, and learn what they're doing. Don't just trust that they're doing it, and because ultimately, when it doesn't matter who you hire to help you with your business, buck stops with you. You are responsible, okay? So yeah, and if they don't work, try someone else. Okay, and then number 4, whatever, some other way to automate, which could be, a virtual assistant to then do marketing. Okay, so you've set everything up to optimize, and then you do it. Now, if you do it the other way around, then you might increase your marketing, which then you've got the follow-up system, you've got the booking system, then you've got the bookkeeper, whatever. You have to decide what's the best order to do things in. And ideally, I would say, if you're doing a sequence of tasks, don't always start with the most obvious. Start with either, I would think, start with the end point in mind, okay? So if you, say it is to automate, you don't want to automate your marketing to get more people, but then your booking system is still crap and there's no follow-up, right? That's why you do the booking system and the follow-up first before you increase the marketing to send people to it, okay? So, sometimes you got to work from the inside out to do this stuff to make it really sing, okay? That is, I think, the last task. The only other thing I'd suggest to you, let me see. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, see if I can bring it up. Okay, so what we've done so far, okay, is we've looked at who are we as a business owner? What is our value set? What are we trying to do with our business? I did say that if you want to do a formal business plan, which would come after everything I show you today, then I would go to business.gov or gov.au. And once you get onto, I can show you. I can show you. Let me see. Okay. I have lots and lots of tabs open. That's just me. Okay, so if I go to sorry, I've lost it for a second there. There we go. I don't recognize it because Google has started doing ads on their search homepage. Hate it. I loved all the attributions and stuff, like it's so-and-so's 400th birthday. Anyway, okay, so business.gov.au. Okay, so if you've never seen this before, please get to know it. Okay, not only is the Australian government funding this workshop today, thank you, it also has some great resources on here, including all about grants and how to do stuff. So I'm literally just going to go and search and go business plan. Okay, and it's going to get me to, well, would you like a template? Yes, I would. Thank you very much. Sure, got the right one. Yeah, that's the right one. going through the loop here. Why you need it. Download the plan. All right. So this is where you go to business planning template, right? And there's a lean template. I don't recommend the lean template on here. Sorry, Australian government. It's not that great. Happy to redo it for you if you like. But the main business plan template is not that long. It actually has some really good guidance in it. And it is the type of template that if you pretty it up and you take out all their, or put this here, then you could use it as a formal business plan to say, go get a loan or something like that. But do check with someone. We have another advisor in this program, Kelby Williams. If you're thinking about that kind of move and how to work with banks and get your finances in order and things like that, cash flow, all that, go and hit him up for a one-to-one through the Digital Solutions program. Really good. But yeah, you just download template. It's in Word, and you can just type it out and follow the instructions, right? Super, super easy. But the other thing I want to show you, before you do that, I would suggest this is called a business model canvas. So if you have not seen this, I've taken this from, hang on, no thanks. It's at the bottom, but my Zoom thing's in the way. So there's I'm failing to think of the main group who came up with this, but it's brilliant. It's basically a one-page business plan. Oh, I don't want to do that text. Let's make that a bit bigger for you. Oops, unless. Okay, so what we have here is a business model canvas. Now, if you've not done one of these before, literally just Google business model canvas. You should find the main website that made this up. This is just one version of it that's been reappropriated, not by me. And it kind of is, it's like a little bit like a map, because the position of what these different boxes, where these boxes are on the page, are actually related to each other. So it is appropriately mapped out here. So you start with value proposition, where you go through what is it exactly you're doing here, who are you serving, what is the main products and services, and like what is the problem you're solving, and what's your unique difference, all that kind of stuff we talked about in the flywheel. And then you come over to all the way to customer segments, and you do customer segments. So customer segment says, okay, so who are the different types of people who will come to you for that solution and value, right? So a segment, you think segment of a mandarin or a Terry's chocolate orange, whatever you prefer. And each segment represents a type of group of people, right? So, things like phone companies do this very, very well. If I was a phone company and someone said to me, well, who uses a phone? It's very easy for them to go, oh, everybody uses a phone, even 5-year-olds. So, that does you no good. Like, how are you supposed to figure out an appropriate product and service, an appropriate marketing messaging and all that, if you can't figure out the different types of groups of people that use your stuff, right? So you have to segment. What is the difference between Group A to Group B to Group C? So if you go on Vodafone or Telstra or Optus or any kind of phone company, it'll be like, get your student deal, get your business owner deal, get your, family deal, right? They're segments. Then once you've worked out the different types of people that will buy from you, not might buy from you, will buy from you, then you're looking at what is the relationship. So how do you talk to them? How do they buy from you? What sort of, how do you deliver this to this group? And then below that is channels, which is where do you talk to them and market to them, okay? So how do they kind of access you, okay? So it's what you produce to customer segment of the different groups, to the relationship with that group, how do you engage with them, to where do you engage with them in channels, okay? Then you flip to the other side to key partners. Key partners is like all the different people, organizations, staff, promoters, consultants, whatever, who help you do all this, okay? So like, who are the most important partners? So for example, my little sphere is probably like web designers, digital marketers, accountants, solicitors, all those key people that work, that a startup, someone who's starting a business go, I probably need an accountant, right? So they go to an accountant. They don't necessarily go, I need a business coach, right? Even though probably that's where the point they should start is with me to go, no, don't spend $500 on that. You can get it for free. So I have to think about those people, but also key partners could be, memberships in chambers of commerce, BNI groups, BX groups, women in business, whatever networking groups could be key partners. Other key partners could be suppliers. So for my cybersecurity firm, it's all about, the programs we use, and think what do we put in for a client compared to what we on sell to a client compared to what we use internally. So, so key partners are basically the external people, groups, organizations that help you do what you do. Okay. And so then in the middle of that is key activities. So how do they help you do what you do? Or how do you serve them to get to customer segments or whatever it is, right? So what is the relationship or the key activities that you do with your key partners? And then, of course, below that is key resources. So what is the cost of doing all that stuff? Okay. Sorry, not the cost. It's what do you need? So, for example, you might want to network with local businesses. So you go to your chamber. Key activity is monthly networking, and the key resources is really being available to go network, plus a LinkedIn profile, plus some business cards, plus a process for follow-up, all key resources. Now I'm going to scroll down because there's more. Down the bottom, it's also divided. So on the right, where you've got customer segments, that's where you earn money. So it's all about revenue streams, okay? So how do they, what do they buy and how much do you make? What's your pricing, sales, transaction model in revenue streams? Like how do you take money in a good way? And then on the other side, key activities, key partners, key resources, that's where you're spending money. So what are the costs associated with that? Okay. So you can see this is, there we go, Business Models Inc. Thank you very much. Was this version. So most business model canvases that you can download, maybe you have to give an email address or something, that's fine. If you're using this, chances are they've got other stuff that they're going to send you by email that you might love, or you just unsubscribe later and say thank you, but no thank you. But this is something I would map every year as well as part of this process, because if you get through your wildly important goal, but you totally miss the core activities of your business and you don't at least review what you're doing in your business, then you probably still miss the mark. So this is this one pager. So if I go back to the slides, wherever they are. Oops. So if I go back to this and I show you this again, this is what we call a one pager. Yeah, a model, like a business model canvas is a model style. And the one on business.gov.au template is a standard long form. And both are useful. So I find a one pager is less intimidating, and it just helps collect your thoughts. Otherwise, diagram it out, do a mind map. So if you don't know what a mind map is, I might have said it before, but you have your business in the middle. And then what you might do is you just, how would I explain this without doing it? So grab one of those templates and look at the content section. The content section is going to tell you all the headings of the different sections of the business plan. Take those names, those labels like legal, marketing, blah, 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 and you put them as the first spokes on your mind map, right? Little bubble in the middle is your business, and then marketing, finance, legal. And then on each one of those nodes, you go, what's the main thing you want to do with that? Like, what are your main activities around that? What are your main programs or resources around that? What are the main costs around that? Is there any income around that? Is there any key people around that? So you can kind of mind map your business as well. So for each area, processes, programs, people, resources and costs, all that kind of stuff. It just helps you really get control, a visual control over what your business is. And that's probably it. So, from today, okay, we've gone through what is a business plan, how that fits in with all the planning you do in your business, down to, what kind of plan you can do that suits you. We've then looked at how do we, what's our why and how everything around your core purpose of your business affects everything else. Making sure you maintain your personal balance. So don't go massively growing your business without keeping control of your personal self so you don't burn out. Understanding what your values are. So make choices that align with your values, make goals that align with your values, do products and services that align with your client and business values. Because if it doesn't align with your values, you're just going to have friction in your business all the time. And what I mean by that when I say friction, it means that instead of getting up to go to your business, like go to your day's work and go, yes, what have I got on today? You go, oh, I've got to deal with that today. That's what friction is. You did your vision and you can come back to the recording and do that again and write it all down, which then draws out to go, right, if I'm on that trajectory, what's my most important thing I want to bridge this year? You can do, to be clear, if you want to take it further, I would do a wig for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Okay. Then you've got a staged approach for what you're going to focus on every year. Then you look at your situation. So it's like, but what is the gap or the bridge that I have to build between me now and me at goal? Okay. Remembering that there's going to be stuff happening in the greater sphere of our business economy this year, going into 2023, that's influenced from Russia and Ukraine and China, fuel, changes to legislation, digital security. There's a bunch of stuff to be aware of. And then we went through business model canvas and some other activities around, what was I going to say? So we looked at your objectives and then mapping out your quarter, month, week, what you're going to focus on for your goal. Okay. So I'm going to remind you guys, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we're going to finish. I'm going to remind you guys that this is part of the Digital Solutions program. This program ends March 2023. Hard stop. And then, well, not a hard stop. Then it's going to be in a different format. So at the moment until March, you could pay $44 only, and you get 3 hours with someone like me. Doesn't have to be with me. It could be a social media expert, whatever you need in these categories. And then the rest of that 7 hours, so you get 3 one-to-one, and then the other 4 hours is in workshops and webinars like this. But someone in your first session will probably go, you know what, T, you've got a bit of a gap, and we're going to put you in this, and I suggest this, right? And that's really, I think, all I wanted to show you today. So ignore that email. I forgot to change this slide. But if you want to register to have a session with me through Digital Solutions for $44, the link is businessstation.link/Rhonwyn. Okay, businessstation.link/Rhonwyn. And I'm just going to be an assault on your eyes. I'm going to take you all back to the beginning where my actual email is. My actual email is info@businessintraining.com.au. And that's simply because my relationship with Business Station has changed. Still doing the program, still wonderfully attached to it and all the rest. But if you want to email me any questions after this session, please do it at info@businessintraining.com.au, which is my own business, which will be forevermore. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today and being extra patient with the extra length, simply because it is such a big topic and I kind of knew we might go over today. So I appreciate your patience with that. If there's any other final questions from what we did today, I will happily take those now. Otherwise, we'll end it there. So if you've got a last question, just pop that in the chat or the Q&A. Otherwise, you can email me at info@businessintraining.com.au. So for a lot of you, I know a lot of you are watching back this recording instead. So please don't feel like you've missed out on any being able to ask questions. Please send your questions and connect with me. Please visit my website, businessintraining.com.au. If you want to do any strategy planning one-to-one, that's great. Let's do that. If you want to join Digital Solutions for $44, totally smart move to do if you haven't done it already. The only qualifier, which was on the last slide, which is for us, for me, you have to be in Queensland or Western Australia or Northern Territory. Otherwise, this program does run nationally, but there's other providers other than Business Station that do it. So you can also send me an email and I'll hook you up with your provider. All right, guys, thank you so much for today. I hope you really got some use out of that. And link for the 26-page planning document. Yeah, sure, I can put that in the chat before we finish up. Grab that now for you. Just caught me. There you go. I'll leave it open for a minute so you guys can copy down that link. But otherwise, if you just go to business.gov.au and you can just put in business plan template into the search bar in that website, and it should take you pretty much straight to it. That's great. Thanks, Nerida. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks, Ivan. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here today. I really hope you guys had a great time and you've got some use out of it. Again, I'm repeating myself now, but yeah, reach out if you need more help. Always here. Thanks, guys.